interested in different levels of participation, and based on when you put your money in or how much you put in, or just the way you structure the deal, different investors will get paid back at different times. So there's not necessarily a cookie cutter approach, but that's kind of the range.
So success is based off of your return of investment. Your return of investment.
At the moment it is, but I think that one of the principles or assets that we have here in the Bay Area is the concept of social capital. Right? And I think that social capital is definitely partly through I guess you could say the advances in social media culture. Right? I think that social capital is more and more becoming a part of the media business model. And I think that that not necessarily just applies to views or eyeballs. I think that especially here in the Bay Area, with a progressive culture, right? I think that people have an understanding of the whole people, planet, profit concept.
And then as well, like the Guitar Man project you're talking about was, it sounds like it was initially pitched to you guys as a documentary, and then all the ancillary things that came with it just happened to also succeed. Is that true, or did they pitch the app first to you, and then it was like, oh, this app is great, we should also make a documentary, and we should also make this? I mean, it sounds like most of the projects you guys are doing are very, film-based in investment, correct?
Usually. But the Guitar Man project was pitched as a complete package, and the group started with a focus on film, but it's definitely evolved, and we have had TV shows and websites and distribution platforms. So
great. Last question before we move on to Mouchy, or should we just move on up?
I had a question about your group and whether or not you work for the San Francisco area, and are the VCs and those that invest in the films localized, or can you reach out and get a group in Seattle, an investment group in Seattle, to support a project here in the area? How does that work?
It's not just localized. There are investors here in LA, Orange County, Seattle, Vancouver, and London at the moment. And so, it's definitely possible, and definitely does happen where some of the members or advisors or investors, connect producers with other investors that might be interested, or have some type of an advantage with the project that they can bring to the project. So it's not just localized.
And you guys invest in only local projects?
No.
Okay. Great. So, Mouchy, want to move on and we'll get to more questions with Andre afterwards? So, if you want to just go ahead and start and give us a little introduction of who you are. And
Hi. Justin asked me, can you guys hear me all right? I'm not.
Can you guys hear Mouchy all right?
Hello?
You give him your mic because you know it works.
Hello? Oh, that's really loud. Can I just go up on this one? That one's scary.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, so Justin asked me to come by and show you Cicada, and I didn't realize until today that this was about making money. Sorry.
No, I mean, but it's not necessarily all about that. I think that's one of the reasons why I brought you here.
Yeah, I don't know anything about making money. I raised lots of money. Cicada is a self-financed independent short film that I've been working on for about 2 years. It has cost me around $175,000, which I've raised totally by myself, well, with helps of people, etc., but we have no investors, we have no business plan. In fact, our business plan is to not make any money. Like, we're not going to sell anything, we don't have any aspirations, we're not trying to make money, we're just making something pretty. I used to work in advertising, and I used to work in the film industry for a long time. And about 3 years ago, I had kind of a early midlife crisis. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. I had denial about it for a long time. I thought that I was just awakening, but no, I just had a crisis and I freaked out. And so I quit. I just walked out. I was making lots and lots of money for people selling things I didn't believe in and working on projects that I thought actually made the world a worse place. Like every day I went to work, by the time I left, I made life shitty for someone else on the planet. Or I sold some crap that was going to get thrown in the river and clog up a sewer in Mexico. You know, it's like I was pushing the crappy lunches for kids, and you know, and I drew the line at cigarettes, but really only drew the line at cigarettes because we don't do a lot of cigarette advertising in this country anyways. So I had a little moment, and I started this project with some money that I got from a well-paid investment bank job. And basically, I was working for these investment bankers, and I cleared about $12,000 in 4 days. That's the kind of money that you're playing with in advertising, and then I couldn't do it. I just like, you know what, I'm going to take this money and do something else with it. And so I did. I started making puppets. And when that money ran out, first I thought we could do the whole thing in 3 weeks. Yes, I got $12,000 in 3 weeks. Go! So in 3 weeks turned into 9. And that turned into about maybe a tenth of what we were trying to do. You know, like our aspirations got bigger and our pictures got bigger. And so then I tried this other approach where I was like, I'm going to Robin Hood this shit, and I'm just going to work as much as I can. I'm going to take the easiest, most well-paid jobs I can find, and I'm just going to suck money from these people. And I did, you know, I would dress up like one of them, and I would go to work, and I was the sheep in a wolf's clothing, dressed as a sheep as a wolf with wings, and I would just show up every day, yes sir, whatever I could do to suck that money away. And that was, am I still there?
That's the only problem about this one. Kind of, okay, try it again.
Hello, okay. Yeah, so I was doing that. At one point I was working 3 jobs at once, and I was making, I don't know, we were spending $10,000 every 4 weeks on Cicada, so I had a crew making puppets. At the same time I was working these jobs and just going out of my mind. I raised about $90,000 that way. Not recommended. Might make you feel crazy. If you can't tell, not quite right. So then I tried this other approach, the KickStarter piece. And we spent about 3 months putting this piece together that went online. And we raised, our official number on Kickstarter was $76,000. We asked for 40. We almost doubled it. In fact, we hit 40 in like 4 days. And, you know, and it took 3 months to make this piece.
Do you mind if I show it?
Yeah. Let's take a look.
I think one of the main reasons why I brought here...
I'm losing all of Justin's respect with my crackhead talk.
No, I love it. I mean, you'll see the video and we'll kind of talk about it, but I think it kind of speaks for itself. So if we just go ahead and get the lights and I'll show this video here.
This is Cicada Princess, a short film and book all made by hand. Through puppets photographed in a miniature world, we follow the lives of the cicadas as they emerge out of the ground for the big party at the end of their lives. My name is Mauchi, and I'm the writer and director of this piece. The story comes from my childhood and the memories of playing under the trees where the cicadas would sing. Cicadas spend almost their entire lives underground, with but the tiniest window to find their mates and purpose. In a way, a shorthand version of our own lives. This parallel has always resonated with me over the years and is the reason and inspiration behind the work. To make this film, my friend Steve and I built the studio from scratch. When we started working on the book in the fall of 2009, we wanted to do it all with photographs of his sculptures posed into miniature sets. There was something tangible about miniatures that we couldn't get from drawings, as well as the subtle shapes and imperfections that come from the artist's fingers. We shot our first picture on my kitchen table using a candle and a lighter. Although crude compared to where we are now, we were able to create an engaging enough image to convince ourselves that we could produce the work. With the help of the local stop-motion community, we started producing our first pictures in early 2010, and with those we were able to attract additional talent to the project. Most notably, Ray Gilberti joined that spring as director of photography. His credits include Nightmare Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach, as well as a 20-year career photographing miniatures for George Lucas. We are currently over halfway through production. Each set takes 6 weeks to make between our small crew and our 500 square foot garage. To finish photography by September, we need to rent a bigger space and hire additional builders so we can be in front of camera every 4 weeks. At our current pace of acquiring funds and producing, we cannot finish in 2011, which is why we are reaching out to the community. In return for your support, we're giving away signed prints and books, models from the sets, limited edition puppets, as well as credits on the picture. Cicada for me has never been a commercial venture. I've always seen it as a gift, which is why I've given up so much to make it to date. Everyone on the crew has had to sacrifice something to make this piece possible, and it is important for us to maintain our independent spirit and create good things. Thanks for your support.
Right? I mean, I had no money, and I was like, I gotta support this. You know, it was like that moment of just, it was wonderful. So,
it was, you know, I spent 3 months to put that thing together. We worked on the script, we worked on the edit, and just as I was about to put it out, I had very negative feedback from my crew. They're like, this thing's really sad. And I'm like, well, the film is sad. I can't lie to people. I don't want to, and they're like, make it happy. I'm like, well, what if we make it happy? And then they go see it and they cry. Like, are we lying? But anyways, so I got this piece ready, and then the tsunami hit. And then I pulled it off. I was like, I can't do this. I can't go out in the world and ask for money when, furniture is flying through people's houses and stuff. So we powered down and we just waited. And we waited about 6 weeks. And I was sitting in my place in West Oakland, and I was watching the news, and Brian Williams comes on, and he's like, weather across the country, cicadas everywhere. It's the biggest bloom of the century. And I'm like, okay, we'll put it out now. So we went live, and I spent, well, all of us spent probably the first couple of days going to everyone we know, and we said, look, every favor you've ever asked of me, every truckload of crap I moved from your house, pay us back now. This is the one time we need it. And so pretty much every friend, every contract person, every employer I've ever had showed up with money in the first couple of days. And once we hit like 15, 20,000, we made it on the Kickstarter radar, which is what I was trying to do. And once we made it on the Kickstarter radar, they saw that they could make money from us, and they put us on the front page. We got on the front page by day 3. By day 4, we cleared 40,000. So that was for like, woo! And I got like a $3,000 check from Mr. Forbes, the guy from Forbes magazine. Steven? Yeah, and then I got a $3,000. I got 2 $3,000 donations, one from Mr. Forbes and one from this sweet retired old lady from Oakland that lives like 5 blocks from me. And I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, so that was a Kickstarter thing, and it has been very successful, and it has spread a lot of goodwill about the project. We've had publishers interested in picking up the material. We've been too busy to follow it when you get there. We got Stephen Fry to join the project last year. If you guys know him, he's kind of important British actor of some kind. Most people in America are like, Stephen who? And people who know him are like, whoa! Yeah, so he saw the piece, he liked what we were doing, and we did the recording. And I can tell you what I've learned about money if you want, or we could just continue.
I think one of the amazing things from my end looking at this is that you're very honest. It's very beautiful work, and as